Which one? Oh, here the 101s. Does everybody have a copy? Does everybody need a copy? Need a copy? One more copy?
You can never have too many 101s.
In case you have memorized.
Give them as stocking stuffers.
Okay, we're on the playground playing and we don't want to come in.
We're acting out.
All right.
Okay. No! Hey, more playing, more playing, more playing, more playing. No! We don't play. We won't play. No! We don't work. We don't work. We don't work. I'm not going. We playing. Understand. No! Why would I try? I'm not trying. No, I'm saying.
There's a nail up here.
Come away. No, say it.
Okay, come on.
You want to go in? No.
Miss Marshall, you have to move where we can see you.
Oh, are we supposed to interact? We're supposed to intervene with you all? You all are the two
No,
students?
We're the children that don't want to come in. I'm in the tunnel. See?
Ah.
See?
Okay.
And I'm in the
And every time you come near me, I'm backing away.
No! Because I want to play. I want to play.
Okay, that's good. Okay, let's give them a hand. All right, now stay up there, and we're gonna everybody think of one 101 you can use.
No violence, please. No violence.
What do you feel like doing? As a teacher, what would you feel like doing?
I would say, come on, let's race. Let's race and see who can get there fastest. I don't know.
I don't want to run.
Let's skip. What do you want to do? Let's skip. You choose.
I want to run.
Tell me what you want to
There
do.
you go.
If you get there first, then you can encourage me.
Yeah, I agree with Erin. I would like try to turn it into a game, like red light, green light, back to line up or something like that.
That would be a good one. Red light, green
Like
light.
we might.
Tell them you have
Mother,
a really
may I?
cool thing in circle time.
Mother, may I? Yeah, mother, may I?
I have a really cool thing in circle time, and I really need a buddy. If you'll come out and you can run with me, then you can be my buddy. I think I'm really excited to run up there.
I want to be your buddy.
Good. Okay.
Or thank the kids in line for being in line.
Thank the kids in line for being in line. Okay. You all want to go next?
Sure.
Okay, they're going next.
Don't applaud, just try to run.
We are fishing for math problems, like in her class. And there's magnets on the end.
I'm connected to yours. I'm going to swing it around.
He hit me! Hey, teacher friend, he hit me! He hit me again! I'm taking yours.
Hey! I with the long street.
Yours too.
Okay, stay there now. Everybody has some ideas.
I guess one we use in Miss Grady's class is when they're using something that they're not supposed to be using it for. We either thank them, thank you for not hitting your friend, or we tell them to use their words, or we tell them to tell the person how it makes them feel, or we say no thank you, or we just simply say, fishing rods or to catch, fish.
Anything else?
I would say like the logical consequences. Like if you're gonna hit, you are not gonna be allowed to play with those
Right.
anymore.
Like you're showing me right now that you're finished playing with the fishing. When you're ready to come back, then you can, do the right thing. But you're showing me right now that you're ready to leave.
It was kind of hard because they were at first they understood they had to fish out the math problems and answer them, but after 2 of them, they would just be interested in getting the magnets stuck together and pull apart. There was one kid who would just had more fun swinging it across in the air. There were 3 times where I almost got hit. So it's what do you do? How do you get them to either focus on what they're doing, or tell them you need to come back and do this when obviously they don't listen.
My experience with that game has been it doesn't last very long.
Right.
And so doing 2 or 3 is about all you can manage, and then you move on to another center. But that's just been my experience with that game. At first it's exciting and fun, but they get over it quickly. So you could just have them put the poles down and do the examples without the poles. I would take the poles away if they start misusing them. What were you going to say?
I was going to say the language we use at the Child Development Center is, you're showing me right now that you're not ready to be at this center, so you need to be at a different center. But like, it's also antecedent behavior. It's like, you got a bunch of magnets, and kids were like, oh, that's fascinating. Look at that. I'm like, you got to be able to recognize whether or not they're capable in groups of 3 or whatever to use whatever it is for its intended purpose and anticipate problems before they happen and try to like account for them.
And maybe do something else with the magnets.
Yeah.
Maybe you could change the game up and have them doing something else with the magnets. I would try to think of something other than
Attaching them to a stick and string.
Do what?
Other than attaching them to stick and string that have a 4-foot radius.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Anybody else have any ideas? Okay, good. Okay, Joan.
College fees are water bottle. So if you have something.
That's my water bottle. Give it to me.
I didn't really buy her.
That happened in your class.
It did.
It
Twice.
did? A child bit the other child?
Like snatching things from me, that's weird. Yeah.
Could you do that shoe on the other foot? Talk to the child about how it might feel to have things taken away. How it might feel to be bitten like a little vampire. Maybe you might not say vampire, but and it hurts. Maybe the kid doesn't care.
Apology principle. Go intervene between the 2 children. Step in and apologize to the child who was bitten. Say, I would never do that to you. And then have the other child take a break. And then when they're done taking the break, ask them if they're ready to come back and show their friend gentle hands or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly the process that we suggest. Say it again, Kim, because you had it all the steps down right.
Intercede between children, step between them if possible, and apologize to the child who was bitten. Don't force the apology on the other child, but apologize on behalf of them. Say, I would never do that to you.
And then the attention to the child who was bitten.
And then have the child who did the biting take a break and tell them when they're ready to come back and show their friend gentle hands, then they can come back and show them gentle hands. And make that a requirement of their, rejoining group is they have to show their friend gentle hands, wherever it is that they entered.
So how did you handle it when that kid entered? What did they do?
Miss Pearson, it was basically the exact way. Yeah, they called the parents of both kids and did an incident.
Incident report.
Yeah, each kid had an incident report, and both parents were called, explained the situation.
Were they called then? I would wait until the end
At the end of the day.
I really would, because you never know where parents are in their life at that moment.
Well, the kids that were called were the teacher knew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she knew. Like, she didn't call, it wasn't like stop right there and go call. It was, she knew their schedule, what to call, what would be a good time, so.
And do you have biting in your classroom?
Oh, we've had one trip, I'm like, think again. And then like they just have to have like a side plan. Absolutely not. We don't bite. We have not had a problem biting.
You haven't? That's unusual with children that young, but we have, of course, in the younger classrooms, we've had problems with biting forever. And that's the process of what she just said. It is unusual to have it with older children, of course.
I think they've groomed it out of them. Like a lot of these kids have been in the same classrooms with the same groups, and by the time they get to the older 2, younger 3 class, that's been groomed out of them. That habit isn't there because it's not acceptable beforehand.
Yeah.
And they know not to try because all the teachers like kind of discipline together in the Child Development Center. They know that what goes for one teacher goes for the other teacher. Where like if you were in a public school and you're like, hey, I got away with this in kindergarten, maybe I should try it in first grade, and like because there's different disciplines going on, it might be acceptable in first grade, and you might get away with it. So
Or
these
he
kids-
might get the attention he wants.
Yes. These kids know that if fighting wasn't acceptable in Miss Shahini's class, it is not acceptable in Miss One's class, so it's pretty much done.
But I don't understand, I mean, I understand why you do the step away and all that, I understand that. But these kids are 3 and 4, and I think they're old enough to talk to them about it hurts when you bite. What do you think this would feel like if you did, somebody did that to you? I don't understand why you can't approach it that
Oh,
way.
we
too.
would talk
Oh,
about
we
that
would.
later. We wouldn't do it right then. We would definitely do it later.
I
Definitely.
mean, they're not 2.
Oh, no. In fact, we always do that, but the time to do it is not right then when it happens.
You want to give the
Time-
attention to the kid who was
Right.
injured
Right,
first, I mean, it's like get that, and like, and
I
then
understand
privately
that.
have a discussion
yeah,
with them later.
but definitely, you certainly want to address it.
So, what if you tell the child to take a break, the one that did the biting, and they refuse to take, like, they think that they're, like she said, you know, how about you take a break, and when you feel like you're ready, you can come back and join us. So what if they feel like they're ready right then and there? Like, you can't.
Well, we tell them that you need to spend some time thinking about it. And that does happen, Stephanie, where a child comes back too soon, and then, yeah, I'm ready, and then we say, oh, you can show me you're ready, but if they don't seem ready, then you say you need to take longer.
Okay.
And I'll set the timer. Do you want 10 minutes or 15?
Or half an hour.
They're really good though, like the ones that we have in our class, you'll see some of them kind of remove themselves. If they're getting upset, you can see them remove themselves and they'll, go. There's a quiet spot that's underneath like the counter space, and they really like that when they go and they just kind of curl up and remove themselves. And you're like, oh, what's going on, buddy? I'm not ready. Okay. I don't need to know the situation. Okay, you're not ready. Come join us when you're ready. And it's like they've gotten really good in those classes about if they're allowed to do that, then they remove themselves before things escalate to a problem.
We have a problem in our class though, because in the younger classes they teach them that I'm not ready, and then they get to our class and they're like, you're like, okay, like circle time, I'm not ready. Like none of them are ready, and the parents have even said that it gets on their nerves at home because they'll be like, okay, time to take a bath, I'm not ready. I'm just not ready.
1 minute or 2, and that's your 2 minutes is up. You
But-
choose, you get in there or I'm putting you in there.
What I think is interesting is they'll use it almost like an insult to their friends. They'll be like, a friend will want to play with them or whatever, and they'll be like, I'm not ready. And it's super mean. Like, I don't know, it's just...
But you would rather them be like, I'm not ready, and have that kid be like, oh, and back away, than have that kid actually not be ready and have them play together and have them beating each other over the head with shovels or something. Like if they're able to vocalize, I'm not ready. Stay out of my space. Stay out
But
of my
I think the
space.
thing that happens in our class is that they are ready.
Yeah.
They're just using it as they know that
Delayed.
when they were younger,
Mhm.
if you said I'm not ready, they wouldn't have to do something.
Right.
And
They
so
wouldn't
now
have to
they're
share
like,
or something like
I'm
that.
not ready to
Mhm.
do what everybody else is doing right
Ours
now
is,
'cause I don't
ours
want
is
to.
used, like they're very careful. Like I've seen them, some teachers are more careful than others, but a lot of them are saying, you're not ready. Would you like to join us? Like you said, in 1 minute or 2, and like so they have that like, you're going to do it. But, it's like you'd rather them come willingly than force them there, because the point where you're forcing a small child, like 3 and 4 is a different age than 2 and 3. When you force a 2 or 3-year-old, he goes right into the sand, and you're getting nothing from them the rest of the time. So I get why at 3 and 4 that's like their natural progression. That's their tendency is to try to do that. So it's like I think it's kind of the job of the teacher who gets them next to be like,
Well,
We're all
going
going
to
to
do
do
it
this.
Yeah.
and move on to the next thing, try to make it interesting. But I can see how a child uses that as a tool.
Mhm.
Okay, you girls are next. You ladies.
Hi, Charlotte.
Play with you?
You're not my best friend.
What did she ask? Can I play with you?
You're not my best friend.
And
Not
so-
my best friend.
So is that exactly how they say it?
He goes, you're not my best friend. Or if you come in and you're like, hi, how was your weekend? Like, what did you do? You're not my best friend.
well, Gavin's my best friend.
We have a lot of best friends and not best friends.
And then they'll say, oh, no, Gavin's my best friend. And then they start fighting over who's best friend. And
Do any of you have any ideas for this?
I know I've heard, like, in Miss Brady's class, she encourages us all friends, you know.
Yeah, Miss Pearson does the same
That's
thing.
what we do too. But they'll use that as like to be mean.
I find a
You're
really
like, you're not my
interesting
best
toy.
friend.
Like find a really interesting toy or game and then kind of, oh, look, this new puzzle. So-and-so's parents just brought in today, and like deliberately say it in front of both of them. So both of them are like, I want to do that. I want to do that first. I don't know me. And then you're like, no, well, we're going to do this. We have to do this together. At that point, engage them in an activity that they have to complete together. That they both have to be near each other to be a participant in.
And they'll forget that they're not best friends.
And another thing is to equip the children with the ability to bring a toy to the situation, or to bring a doll, or to bring something and say, let's roll baby carriages or something, so that it's not just can I play, but let's do such and such together. So you give, and we all need to have that skill where we're bringing something to the situation instead of, do you like me? it's I have something to offer here, and I'm bringing something interesting. So that's another thing you can teach children to do, is to bring something with them.
What about when they're saying it to you as a teacher though? 'Cause they'll
Saying
say it
what?
to
You're
us.
not my best friend.
Yeah, they'll tell us that we aren't their best friends, and we're just like, I want to be like, okay, you're not mine either. But
I know.
I'm really nice.
You can say I hurt, because I have girls say that to me, like they don't want to dance. I hate dance. I'm like, well, you know, yeah, exactly. I do. I say, well, you know what? That hurts my ears. That makes me sad when you say that, you know, because here we are, we're ready to go, and you know, and then they're saying that type of thing, and you know, well, so you can say that too. Well, that hurts. That makes me sad, you know, like just let them know.
Well, what if you don't get a response and they kind of look at you and they're like,
That's nice.
just walk away?
Unlike certain behaviors, you just kind of ignore it and they'll go away.
Mhm.
You don't we don't want to be best friends. I'm your teacher friend, not your
Right.
your classroom friend.
Right.
And so you don't want to play with me right now. That's fine. Go find another friend to play with, but you don't have to like me all the time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
at that point, I'm like,
It is such a temptation to say you're not my
you're
best friend.
you're not my
It is. It's every morning. It's the same student. I'm like, hi, like how are you? You're not my best friend.
I wonder if he says that to you because for some reason, like he thinks, like he notices it bothers you.
Yeah, I wonder too.
You're like, they like to see how you react, like to your face twitch. I'm like,
Maybe you'll have to watch him. No, it's when I come in and I'm putting my stuff away.
We've had the same thing,
But
in
then
circle
he's
time.
nice to me. He sits next to me at circle time. Maybe he just wants an excuse to like say something to me.
Yeah, well, I probably would say, well, you're my good friend. And I would put my hand
Oh, well,
around
that's
you.
nice. Yeah, that's nice.
Too bad you're my best friend.
What did you just say?
In circle time sometimes, I'm sure that you remember this, but in circle time they'll go, well, I don't want to sit by you because you're not my best friend. I'm like, okay. You know, like, of course, I'm like, that really hurts my feelings.
It
Like,
does.
It does. It makes you feel like, well, what did I do wrong? So I'm just like, well, you know, Miss Pearson has said, well, we're all friends at ODU, even our
That's
teacher friends.
lovely.
And everybody at ODU is friends, so we all need to sit by each other. And
Yeah.
but I know, because I feel the same way you do. It's like, well, I don't want to tell you that you're not my best friend because you are, and you take it right to heart. It's like a knife in the heart.
It is, and it's like the only thing that age group can say that really hurts their friends. Like none of them say like, I don't like you, like go away. They're just like, you're not my best friend. You're not my best friend.
So we have the opposite. We have a little couple.
Oh, we have
Yeah, a little boy and girl that always hold hands and they're always together and they always have to sit next to each other and they're just a little couple. Okay, we have to separate these two.
One of the 101s is stay detached emotionally, and that's very hard to do. But you have to stay detached emotionally, where you're not going to take it into your heart that people don't want to be with you right now. And that's hard to do. It's very hard as a parent to do that. I mean, it's even harder than it is as a teacher. when your child's mad at you and says mean things to you. It's very hard to stay detached emotionally. But you have to remember the Erikson stages and remember what's important to that child at that point, and just try to be the adult, be the person in generativity who says, you know, I'm here to help you grow, not to be your best friend. Okay, thank you. Good job.